Hey guys, John here. I'm super excited and happy to present to you my new Tonex tone model pack for the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus amplifier, as well as the V2 version of my Quad and Nano Cortex capture pack of the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about what's inside of the pack and show you guys some of the tones that are included. And let's start by taking a listen to a quick demo of the Tonex pack of the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus. Check it out. All right, that sounded so good. So this amplifier, this of course is the real specimen on which I based all the captures and tone models. The Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus, a modern classic. I think everybody by now knows about this amplifier, this boutique German-made high-gain amplifier. It's a very versatile amplifier in terms of what sort of tones it has to offer, from clean to mean and everything in between, right? And it also has some unique features that I also captured. So we have clean tones with both the brilliant and warm settings. The brilliant setting obviously is a little bit more bright and sparkly. The warm setting is a bit better suited for pedals and such. And then I also did a capture of the preamp defeat, which bypasses the preamp completely. And so it's basically a power amp that you can use to put amp in a box style pedals or preamps in front and stuff like that. So that's a cool and unique feature that this amplifier has and that I wanted to capture as well. And for the lead channel, we have a vintage mode and a modern mode, and I have various captures for both modes. And then we also have this little switch over here, which is the bright switch with 3 settings. So I wanted to make sure that I included a bunch of captures for each setting there. And I also did multiple captures for the cut control, which is basically a control that lets you dial in the amount of tightness that the sound has. So all the distorted tones basically have 2 settings of the cut control, one that is a little bit more loose and the other that is a little bit more tight sounding. And that's why there are 24 captures in total for each pack, 12 of which were captured with my real Grossmann Fatbox cabinet, in which I had loaded up my Celestion Vintage 30, as usual mic'd up with 3 mics, SM57s and 1 MD421, blended together for a nice and full balance. Just sounds really rich, and it will fit the mix like a glove, but it will also feel and sound good when you're playing by yourself. So it's raw and pure. I didn't apply any EQ or anything like that, but at the same time, it is very mix ready for both the platforms. Now, the settings and the captures are exactly the same for both the Tonex stuff and the Quad and Nano Cortex stuff. So we have 24 captures for each platform, again, capturing the exact same settings on the amplifier. And whenever I made a capture with the real cabinet, I also made a DI capture. So a capture of the head without a cabinet connected. For that purpose, I used the line out on the back of the amplifier while the amplifier was connected to my real cabinet. And I think in this case, it's superior than using a reactive load, because in this case, the impedance interaction, so the impedance curve came from the actual V30 that I had loaded up in my cabinet, rather than taking it from a load. And of course, with the direct captures, you can add your own IRs or your own cab sim and all that good stuff. But I myself prefer the captures with the cabinet because they are just so ready. They sound so three-dimensional and real, and I just love the sound of my cabinet. I think it sounds absolutely massive. But of course, I wanted to make sure that I included both this time. Now, of course, this is the first time that I've captured this amplifier for the Tonex platform. I have done a capture pack for the Quad Cortex and the Nano Cortex of the Prometheus in the past, but since I was doing this pack for the Tonex with all my new gear, so the new cabinet, the new mics, and my knowledge of this amplifier now, and my new capture methods and stuff, I figured let's do a V2 of the Prometheus for the Quad and Nano Cortex as well, with my improved methods. The old one is still available, it still holds up, it's still killer, but I think that the new one definitely is a little bit superior in terms of the tone and also usability. And if this is a success, I would love to do more amplifiers, but especially for Tonex, they take a lot of time to complete. So it just kind of depends on the schedule, and it also depends on how much need or want there is for such packs for different amplifiers. All right, so what I want to do now is go to my Quad Cortex and show you some of the sounds that are included. Again, keep in mind that all the sounds are basically the same for the Tonex platform and the Quad Cortex. I'm just going to use the Quad Cortex now to run through a couple of tones because it's a little bit easier for the purpose of this video. I'm using my Balaguer Espada 2024 with the Hypernova pickups, really cool sounding guitar. It's tuned to drop C# right now. And for the Quad Cortex users, when you buy this pack, you get sent 2 presets. So this is the first preset. This preset includes all the captures that have the cab baked in. And then this preset has all the DI captures with a cab block that, of course, can be replaced by an IR. And all the captures will be encapsulated into the preset. So once I send you the presets, you can download all the captures separately as well. Now, what I did for these presets is I included 8 scenes, just to give you a good taste of what's included. And we're just going to do a quick walkthrough of those scenes. So scene F is my favorite sound. That's the sound that you heard in the intro as well. It's like a thick and nice textured rhythm tone. Of course, the amount of gain is going to depend on your interface, especially for Tonex, and the pickups that you're using. So you might want to adjust the input gain or the gain in the capture block just to accommodate your pickups, your playing style, and your guitar. But luckily, you know, both platforms have plenty of controls to make the sound your own if needed, right? So this is kind of my favorite sound. Let's take a look at what this is. So this is the Prometheus. It's lead setting number 5 with the bright switch to the top. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And for setting 5, I think I used the cut control at around 930 or so. So it's still kind of fat sounding. Now, of course, you can also use a boost up front. So I took the liberty of putting a boost up front for scene H, just to kind of let you hear and feel how this amplifier sounds with the tube screamer up front. So that's really modern sounding, right? Now let's go to scene A, which is a clean tone. This is the clean channel with, let me check. Yes, with the brilliant switch on. So this is a very rich and full sounding clean, right? Very high headroom. So this is going to work really well with single coil pickups. I've put the coil tap on this guitar. So yeah, it's just a good clean tone, right? And then we have the warm mode as well, which I don't have featured in the scenes. Let's try the vintage mode, which is a low gain mode. This first one is with the bright switch in the bottom setting, so that's going to sound a little bit different than in the top setting. So that's a very nice crunch right there. Then let's go to scene C, which is another flavor of the crunch. So if we click on that scene or on that capture, you can see that I have the bright switch set to the top position, again, which is going to give you a little bit of a different flavor. Then for D, we have lead 1 with the bright switch set to the bottom. So again, a bit more of a fat tone with that bottom position for the bright switch for a little bit of a different flavor as well. All right, then scene E, which is going to be a bit more of a fat tone. This is going to be the lead 4 with the bright switch to the middle position and with the cut control dialed up a bit. There's also a capture in here with the cut control completely off, which is a very thick and sludgy tone. This kind of is a little bit more tight than that. So that's very fat and thick. It's going to work really well with the boost pedal up front, in fact. Scene F is the one that you already heard. And then for scene G, we have a little bit of a different capture with the bright switch to the top on the most tight setting, basically. So I think that's cut at 12 o'clock. If you're going to use active pickups, say like Fishman Fluence pickups, especially the moderns, this is going to sound super tight, right? And then again, the setting with the boost on. Just so you can get an idea of how this amplifier sounds with the boost up front. Now, as you'll notice, I have a little bit of a high and low cut going on, just because that's what most people do when they have a raw amp sound. So I'm cutting the lows under 70 Hertz here, and also cutting the highs up and around 9.5K. If we turn this off, it sounds a touch more raw, but it's subtle. It sounds fine without the EQ, but I've just added it in there just to make the sound a little bit more polished for you guys. All right, now let's go back to preset mode and take a quick look at the DI sounds, which are basically the exact same sounds, but then captured with the line out, right? What I did do is I loaded up a stock cabinet, the 2x12 Azilla Fatboy with the V30 for this preset, because that's the stock cabinet. Of course, you can also load your own IRs, which we can also try later in this video. But again, this is the main sound. So, and let's go to scene mode again, and then again, scene F is the main sound. Of course, that's going to sound different than with my cabinet. It's a bit more polished sounding, right? I personally prefer, again, the sound of my own cabinet, but I think the Quad Cortex cabs sound pretty good. So, and like I said, you can, of course, change the cab around or use your own IRs and stuff like that. Let's go to the clean real quick. Again, a very high headroom clean, right? Let's go to one of the crunch sounds. And again, with the boost up front. And just for fun, let's try an IR as well. And I want to try one of my own IRs just for fun. And let's try an IR. Let's try a greenback just for fun, because that's a very different sound. That sounds absolutely massive, right? These IRs can all be purchased on my web store, of course. Let's try the Heyday, which is the Heisu Demon. That sounds massive. So yeah, I have all my IRs loaded in here of 32 different types of speakers. And you know, you can just have a lot of fun with that. Oh, let's try the Lucifer, which is of course the Lichtlaerm audio speaker. So you get the point, right? So again, the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus capture pack for the Quad and Nano Cortex is out now, as well as for Tonex, with 24 tone models each, 12 with the real cab baked in and 12 direct. So I hope you enjoy these. You can check them out in my web store through the links below, and I'll be sure to also upload them to ToneNet soon for the Tonex users who prefer to buy them there. I'm super happy with how these turned out, and I hope you guys will enjoy them too. This amplifier is excellent, and the captures turned out really, really well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this capture pack. I'd love to know. Also be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, because that really helps the channel out. If you want to support this channel, you can buy this pack or something else, like another Quad Cortex or Tonex pack, or one of my IR packs, all in my web store. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.